You guys always want to talk about utility in Web3 and how NFTs will integrate into brands. Well, today's episode is going to break all that down for you. You do not want to miss it. It's talking about Starbucks and a lot more that will affect the crypto markets. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. Let's go into a couple of points, and I do want to thank our sponsor today. That is Tangem, self-custody wallet that you guys can go out there and get. Very easy to operate. This is a card that they'll send to you in the mail, and it comes to you. You download your app, and of course, it's one of the most secure self-custody programs out there. Very easy to use, and all you have to do is click that Get Tangem button. You'll get a 3-card set. Go there, and of course, use our code. It does help the channel. This will be your first step into self-custody. Big news on Tangem. They've got some big things coming in the pipeline as well, so be on the lookout for all that. Let's go over to a couple of points I want to hit on. Kobayashi is talking about Starbucks extending its decline now to a negative 16 on the day, hitting its lowest level since June of 2022. I'll show you the charts here in a moment. The stock now erased $35 billion in market cap since its all-time high in 2021. Globally, Starbucks saw a 6% decline in customer traffic in the first quarter. This is a problem that is going to plague Starbucks maybe for a while. The CEO said it's a highly challenged environment, and there's a big reason as to why this is happening. And I want to go to a clip to give you kind of a framework. Listen in.
John, when we look at the biggest loser today, it's going to be Starbucks. It's among the worst performers in the S&P 500. It's one of the bigger guidance cuts I've seen in a long time. I checked with all the major, both public and private companies that are in a similar business to you, and no one saw a 3% decline in comp stores because of weather, and none of them saw a negative number except for you.
We have not been able to communicate to them the value that we provide. What we're doing for that is we are making it attractive for them to come back into the Starbucks app and join it. On the app, what you will see is you will see value that they haven't seen. There are drops that are going to happen every Monday. There are bundles that we're putting in place that are attractive for them. For example, a beverage and a drink at a certain price. What you are seeing there is the effort we're making in order to ensure that our occasional customers get to see the value that we provide.
Why did the loyalty program go from 34.3 to 32.8 in linked quarter? I mean, those people are not occasional. Those people are hardcore. Not the occasional, but the hardcore drop off.
It's at the tail of the loyalty program, particularly those that are, in the 90-day active, as we call it. The folks that didn't come back. They, again, are very similar to the occasional customers. We have an action plan in place right now to communicate directly with them. If you look at some of the metrics that we have...
Tim Horton said you are not holding shares, sir. I regard them as being seminal companies that are just as good when it comes to... McDonald's says you are losing share.
The thing we didn't do enough of is really attack the occasional customer with delivering and communicating value to them in a more aggressive manner. That's what the plan we have does.
Is it not time to pause, sir, and figure out what's really going wrong and spend a deep dive and making it so that this decline in comp store numbers does not continue? Because it is perilous to the actual existential existence of Starbucks.
Man, okay, so I'm not a big fan of Cramer, but he hit on a lot of really good points. And if you look back at the history of what is going on here, one thing specifically, and I won't say that this is because of this, but it could have had some significant strategy theory that is played out in the NFT side of things. And this was when Starbucks dropped and sunsetted the Odyssey beta program, their experiment in NFTs, in a loyalty platform that was designed for their own employees and some of their, influencers. But this happened, remember, March 15th. That's when this tweet was out there. They said, hey, everybody, thanks for participating. Go take a hike. We're out of here. I want to remind everybody, we did a full video on this. We saw this program way in advance. I think this was, when was that video? Yeah, a year ago. This was our analysis of why we thought this would be a failure and what we thought was going to eventually be a problem, most of which was dead on. We were hitting it mostly because of the awareness, the slow rollout, the issues they had around nothing about the loyalty program was truly dialed into NFTs and blockchain and getting into that next generation consumer, which is the biggest thing that this company is facing. And that is a dynamic shift between Gen Z and millennial. And I'll explain more on that. in a second, because it'll tell you a lot about why these degen products, why projects, why these NFTs, and also why these Web3 products that are coming out into the market, especially around this area, are going to explode. I want to go to another clip that breaks it down a little further. Listen in.
And like, what is your favorite app? What is our favorite app to look at, to work with, to identify ourselves with and play with?
Starbucks.
My answer is also Starbucks. Out of the 10 responses, 8 of them were bucks.
Yeah.
Starbucks, no brainer.
There's 2 different Starbucks apps, right? But what's the secondary? Tell me a little bit about their secret app.
But it's a way for Starbucks to engage with their customers, their current licensees, even some of their current employees. And now I'm going to Starbucks a little bit more. And now I'm obsessed with getting some of these goodies that it's given.
And then 3 days later, I joined it because I forgot to put my email, and Kim just like floundered around.
I kept putting
Missed the
email
window.
after email, and I missed the window, and then another window of opportunity opened up, so I put my email in, and I didn't get a response. Man, I wanted to be part of the cool kids club.
Yeah.
I wanted to be in Odyssey, and I wanted to be experiencing the same kind of things that I didn't want y'all to be part of something that I couldn't be a
You
part
were a little
of.
jealous of us, right?
Yeah.
We were on a call the other day with a topic leader of Starbucks, that sits up, that runs a Starbucks, that helps oversee us, and he never even heard of Odyssey.
Because you go into these Starbucks and they don't know about Odyssey. A lot of the leaders don't know about Odyssey.
Yeah.
So that was one of the scenarios that played into this, was the awareness problem, both at the staff level, obviously at the retail front level, which is a problem when you're trying to reach next generation consumers. You've got to be on top of this stuff. This is where the landscape looks very different when you go to the rest of the food market and restaurant market. I want to play this clip. This is about Burger King. Look at what they did.
Partnering with Sweet, an NFT marketplace, Burger King paired their NFT campaign, Keep It Real Meals, with their existing loyalty program, Royal Perks. They put a gamification spin on the campaign, with customers scanning a QR code on each meal box to receive one of 3 collectible NFT game pieces. On completion of the set, customers automatically received a 4th NFT reward, which could either be a digital collectible, free Whopper sandwiches for a year, merchandise, or a call with one of their celebrity ambassadors.
So you can see that there are QSR, that's quick serve chains that are already starting to move in this direction. That's Burger King. And the one thing that they did right was they integrated this into the full-fledged loyalty system, meaning, hey, it was front and center, meaning they went all in, said, hey, we're going to try this. If we're going to try it, it's going to go out to the majority of our audience. And that is one of the reasons that they've had some success. Lacoste went in a similar way. Now, obviously, this is a different kind of company, but it's retail-oriented, and it's targeting a similar demographic. Look at what they did.
An interesting use case actually is what has done Lacoste. So the first step of their project was to create a Web3 community. They can get access to a private sale to their first NFT collection. So they have created this amazing community that reached a lot of people on Discord in 4 days. So they distribute what we call the Genesis Pass. So the Genesis Pass was the first picture. Everyone got the exact same NFTs. And then they were able to interact with the brand on the Discord. And more specifically, they were able to co-design the next NFT collections. So giving them a feeling of participating to the brand's decision, and a feeling of very, very strong community, including meetings with the brand ambassadors, meetings with tennisman players, access to private sales. You can get physical merch only accessible for NFT holders. You can take decisions with the brand. You are waitlisted for the next Lacoste events, the next Lacoste NFT collections.
So this is another brand that understands what's happening out there in culture, which in most respect, people would look at Starbucks and say they're maybe the birth of culture, especially around coffee. But this is where they've started to miss the boat. And I think that when you go back to that Cramer clip, he was really grilling their CEO. And I think that's the point. The CEO themselves, I do not think, have understood that they might be missing a generational culture shift that is and potentially could be the demise of Starbucks. Yeah, I know, that could be the case. This is something, too, that is very intriguing, and that is how small brands can come in and snipe into these big failures and absolutely take things skyrocketing. Take a look.
So for instance, you can decide, given that the blockchain is like transparent, you can decide to target the NFT holders of another brand. Or you can decide to target the NFT holders of an NFT collection that is super famous. This is what has done, like for instance, Tiffany doing these pendants that were only available to CryptoPunk holder.
So what the strategy is here is brands are coming in and saying, all right, who is falling on their face? Let's go in. It's basically the same kind of market share that you try to do when a brand does something wrong. You go out and try to pick those customers up. Well, Starbucks still has a lot of NFT holders. This, of course, is the Siren NFT, which is one of their leading collections. But there's a whole slew of these out there. So this is an opportunity now for brands to come in and say, hey, maybe there's an opportunity here that we can start bringing those Starbucks NFT holders. What a decimated platform that you have when you start robbing and showing affinity toward a lot of these generation shift situations where consumers now have a new outlet. So that in itself is a pretty, this is a problem, I think, for someone like a Starbucks. All right, so an example right here with Keyspace. This, of course, is kind of interesting on loyalty, the community T. And if you look at this right here, I'm going to zoom in right there, active loyalty T bag for Starbucks Odyssey holders. So this, again, is another brand that understands kind of this connection to NFT holders, meaning if you've got an NFT project that sunsets like Odyssey, the opportunity here is to grab those users up because they're still holders. Those are people out there. In crypto community, we call this a rug pull, which is what Starbucks did. So this in itself starts to disengage from this cultural shift that Starbucks is really in a position for. Now, there's a lot of different platforms out there that are trying to do these kinds of things in terms of building NFT communities and trying to connect to that next generation platform. One of them out there is Blackbird. This is kind of a newfangled way of creating loyalty, but this is a platform that is going to give you an opportunity to do quite a few things around clubs. You get passes, all sorts of things. And this, of course, is operated, or I think Gary Vee is in on this one as well. But the point is this primarily right now is going into the high-level restaurant scene, mostly fine dining. And that's the problem that you have. The other thing that you're going to look at is there's not a lot of integrated branding around this, so you don't get the DGen community. You don't bring in the NFT community, which I think is where we will see most of Gen Z live. And that is a very critical mistake that some of these brands are making, meaning they're not understanding the growth of where this culture and this shift is coming from. Nike's been able to do it, hitting home runs. We've seen several brands that have been able to make this leap and do it right. So it's just a matter of time, I think, before we see this really take off. Now, another brand in the restaurant space that has been doing it right was Chipotle. Let me show you a little bit about that. Listen in.
You know I had to double it.
Most companies would just put this out and call it a day. But Chipotle actually took it to the next level. They created a Chipotle branded napkin holder for those sneaky napkin takers. And guess what? It got 14 million views. Not only that, they released it right before the holidays, making it the perfect stocking stuffer. They created a limited drop and boom, they sold out, leaving consumers wanting more. Pure genius.
At this Colorado Avalanche ice hockey game, the sponsor Chipotle did a mixed reality display where a giant Chipotle bowl slid into the middle of the rink and a giant ham pops up from under the ice and grabs the bowl. This is how I expect a lot of the metaverse integration will be slowly creeping into our lives.
All right, so you can see there's brands out there that understand it, okay? They get the joke. And this is the problem that I think we're in right now, is a lot of brand executives have not been able to leap into this next layer of culture shift that we are in right now. The last one that we saw was over a decade ago. And it's when you saw brands like Starbucks, like Chipotle, and many others, a lot of fast casual brands, that really made the leap into the next level. This is a history lesson of how Chipotle got started in this. Look at what they had to say.
In mid-2021, Chipotle had one of the fastest growing rewards programs in the category. To keep the growth going, we needed to overcome a reputation that it takes too long to earn rewards. So Chipotle launched the Chipotle Rewards Exchange. So how could we show just how fast you can earn rewards? A high-speed video game, obviously. The premise was simple. Go to Chipotle twice and get enough rewards for free chips. Keep racing for more rewards. High score wins a Tesla. The gaming community went wild. And so did the numbers. The game was a winner. Within 48 hours, we had 2.1 million gameplays, over 15,000 social shares, and 71,000 new rewards members. In the end, Race to Rewards showed the world just how fast you can earn rewards at Chipotle.
All right, so you can see this was a perfect setup for Chipotle. They launched all of this on a gaming integration that took the gaming community. What matches up to the gaming community? Gen Z, also the younger millennials. Where is the spending going to go? Where is culture going to shift to? Where is eventually those loyalty return visits going to come from? That's where that market is really going to go from. So they could have fixed this with just a simple game, and it would have been so natural for Starbucks, just so natural. I know this is all after the fact, but for all you brands and anybody that's in retail, if they're watching this today, you're going to start to understand the writing is now on the wall. I think we've been kind of talking about this for a while, but I want to go to this last clip. This goes into Chipotle 2024 and where they are today, because they're about ready to take the next step. Listen in.
PlayStation is teaming up with Chipotle to bring you the Chipotle Challenger Series.
Get ready for the next battle with Tekken coins exclusively from Chipotle. Use promo code EWGF623 when you order any entree in the Chipotle app and get 500 Tekken coins.
Sign up now in-game by navigating to the PlayStation Tournaments tab within the Tekken 8 game menu on PS5. Want a shot at a $20,000 prize pool, a paid trip to Evo 24 in Vegas, and free Chipotle for a year?
I love those esports. So that's a good example of just the culture shift. Back again, guys, I mean, that was kind of writing on the wall. Look at the way that they've designed this. This is the Chipotle Tekken 8 promo code and what they're doing around this, around Tekken coins. And next up, guys, I think is getting into the component of these NFTs and the collectibles. That's just a minute away from happening. I think Chipotle will most likely lead the way around a revolution of loyalty and culture shift and adapting to it. That's what brands have to do today, for sure. Here's a good example. This is Raposa Coffee. Now, Raposa Coffee has done some pretty interesting things. I want to scan down on their website, because this will start to surprise you a little bit as we go further in. You think, oh yeah, it's a coffee company. Oh wait, what's this? Raposa Kups. It's a community. Foxy coffee connoisseurs join the Discord, all right? That's a brand that's starting to understand how to connect. Then they connect via the art, and then boom, before you know it, you've got real life NFT community building and culture shifting starting to happen in real world assets. We call those fidgetals. All that starting to work into their social media, and then bam, now you've got the team even jumping in and starting to think Web3, which of course plugs into what the degen crowd can do. Then you go to Magic Eden. This is a good example. They're using Solana right there, so that means they know what they're doing. And there's some value in these as well. So again, more culture. They're building in that fun element around it. This is maybe the future of where coffee is going to go, and they're showing it to Starbucks. So maybe Starbucks can learn something from this mistake, reposition this, and revitalize their brand to get to a new culture step shift, because that's what they're going to need to do. This is a clip showing Raposa. Listen in.
Yeah, so fast.
All right, so kind of cool there, because it's basically taking in, it's not a 3D print, but it's utilizing some of those print technologies in these coffee automation robotic machines that we've seen out there. And this is a good deal because it's integrating part of that brand culture that they're building from Raposa. So they understand, again, this gets back into building technology around it, really plugging into how you get those message points out there. Because remember one of the statements that the Starbucks CEO, they weren't able to message this to the consumer. They're the biggest coffee brand in the world. How could they not understand how to message to the consumer to create those visits and create the lift? This is what it's going to take. Now, full disclosure, I'm an advisor on this company, Devour. This is what I think is going to take to be able to move into this next level, and that is these integrated gaming components with food ordering And as you can see, if you've been following our channel, you know all of these brands that are tied in: Honeyland, Saga Genesis, Cleanosaurus. I might be speaking French to you if you're a restaurant guy, but soon you're going to know these brands and what they mean, because these, my friend, are cultures. These are cultures of consumers that understand how to move. And if you look at this as being done in fast fashion, it's already been done a lot now, I think, to an extent where the brands like restaurant brands can really take and learn from this. I'm going to go to a few more tweets here. We put this tweet out. This was an interview I did with Jeff Alexander over from Wowbow, and he's a restaurant brand, and they were, let me kind of zoom back in. This was their Roblox integration, and as you can see, I'll kind of pause it there. On that screen, you can kind of see their integration into their self-ordering kiosk, which was kind of a cool integration. But again, this gets back into in-game ordering. This will be the future of how food ordering is done, or one of the futures of how food ordering done. And remember, if you are looking at getting into NFTs, this is another way where an app has created an NFT that is creating immediate value. And this is basically their rewards system that is their industry pass, which is going to give you not only Devour DPAY tokens, but also gives you rewards for being able to do certain tasks within the app itself. Again, creating culture, building that connectivity to the new consumer, and tying in gaming. All of that is very positive going forward. This is what happens to your stock, my friends, when you don't go these routes. And not in a bad way, but I'll look back here into November of 2023 to where Starbucks fell today because of these massive misses. And I would agree with Cramer, if they don't get this shipped right in a very short period of time, and this is going to move like, a huge gorilla. It's going to be slow and a little bit lumbering, but they could pull it off because they are a brand that is known globally. It's just a matter of, can they connect to that next generation? This has been a problem that has happened in business since the start of business, so it's not something new. All right, if you guys are not tuned into our Diamond Circle, get in now. It's a great place to get our content that is not maybe here on the YouTube channel. And of course, you can also follow me on X @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on Tech Path.